Act 2, Scene 1. Enter Montano and two gentlemen. What, from the Cape, can you discern at sea? Nothing at all. It is a high wrought flood. I cannot, twixt the heaven and the main, descry a sail. Methinks the wind does speak aloud at land. A fuller blast ne'er shook our battlements. If it hath ruffianed so upon the sea, what ribs of oak, when mountains melt on them, can hold the Mortise? What shall we hear of this? A segregation of the Turkish fleet. For do but stand upon the banning shore, the chidden billow seems to pelt the clouds. The wind-shaked surge with high and monstrous mane seems to cast water on the burning bear, and quench the guards of the ever-fixed pole. I never did like molestation view on the enchafed flood. If that the Turkish fleet be not ensheltered and embayed, they are drowned. It is impossible they bear it out. Enter a third gentleman. News, lads. Our wars are done. The desperate tempest hath so banged the Turks that their designment halts. A noble ship of Venice hath seen a grievous wrack and sufferance on most part of their fleet. How? Is this true? The ship is here put in, a Veronese. Michael Cassio, lieutenant to the warlike Moor Othello, is come on shore. The Moor himself at sea, and is in full commission here for Cyprus. I am glad on it. 'Tis a worthy governor. But this same Cassio, though he speak of comfort touching the Turkish loss, yet he looks sadly, and prays the Moor be safe. For they were parted with foul and violent tempest. Pray heaven he be, for I have served him, and the man commands like a full soldier. That's to the seaside. Ho! As well to see the vessel that's come in, as to throw out our eyes for brave Othello, even till we make the main and the aerial blue an indistinct regard. Come, let's do so, for every minute is expectancy of more arrivants. Enter Cassio. Thanks, you, the valiant, of this warlike isle, that so approve the more. Oh, let the heavens give him defense against the elements, for I have lost him on a dangerous sea. Is he well shipped? His bark is stoutly timbered, and his pilot a very expert and approved allowance. Therefore my hopes, not surfeited to death, stand in bold cure. A shout within. A sail! A sail! A sail! Enter a messenger. What noise? The town is empty. On the brow of the sea stand ranks of people, and they cry, "A sail!" My hopes do shape him for the governor. A shot is heard within. They do discharge their shot of courtesy, our friends at least. I pray you, sir, go forth, and give us truth, who 'tis that is arrived. I shall. Second gentleman exits. But, good lieutenant, is your general wived? Most fortunately. He hath achieved a maid that paragon's description and wild fame. One that excels the quirks of blazoning pens, and in the essential vesture of creation does tire the engineer. Enter second gentleman. How now? Who's put in? 'Tis one Iago, ancient to the general. He's had most favourable and happy speed. Tempests themselves, high seas and howling winds, the guttered rocks and congregated sands, traitors and steeped to clog the guiltless keel, as having sense of beauty do omit their mortal natures, letting go safely by the divine Desdemona. What is she? She that I spake of, our great captain's captain, left in the conduct of the bold Iago, whose footing here anticipates our thoughts a se'nnight's speed. Great Jove Othello guard, and swell his sail with thine own powerful breath, that he may bless this bay with his tall ship. Make love's quick pants in Desdemona's arms. Give renewed fire to our extincted spirits, and bring all Cyprus comfort. Enter Desdemona, Iago, Emilia, and Rodrigo. Oh, behold, the riches of the ship is come on shore. You men of Cyprus, let her have your knees. Hail to thee, lady, and the grace of heaven before, behind thee, and on every hand, and wheel thee round. I thank you, valiant Cassio. What tidings can you tell me of my lord? He is not yet arrived, nor know I aught but that he's well, and will be shortly here. Oh, but I fear. How lost you company? The great contention of sea and skies parted our fellowship. A shout within. A sail, a sail, a shot is heard. But hark! A sail. They give their greeting to the citadel. This likewise is a friend. See for the news. Exit second gentleman. Good ancient, you are welcome. Welcome, mistress. Let it not gall your patience, good Iago, that I extend my manners. 'Tis my breeding that gives me this bold show of courtesy. Sir, would she give you so much of her lips as of her tongue she oft bestows on me, you would have enough. Alas, she has no speech. In faith, too much. I find it still when I have list to sleep. Marry, before your ladyship, I grant she puts her tongue a little in her heart, and chides with thinking. You've little cause to say so. Come on, come on. You are pictures out of doors, bells in your parlors, wild cats in your kitchens, saints in your injuries, devils being offended, players in your housewifery, and no housewives in your beds. Oh, fie upon thee, slanderer. Nay, it is true, or else I am a Turk. You rise to play, and go to bed to work. You shall not write my praise. No, let me not. What wouldst thou write of me, if thou shouldst praise me. O gentle lady, do not put me to it, for I am nothing if not critical. Come on, I say. There's one gone to the harbour. Ay, madam. I am not merry, but I do beguile the thing I am by seeming otherwise. Come, how wouldst thou praise me? I am about it, but indeed my invention comes from my pate as bird-lime does from frieze. It plucks out brains and all. But my muse labours, and thus she is delivered. If she be fair and wise, fairness and wit, the one's for use, the other useth it. Well praised. How if she be black and witty? If she be black and thereto have a wit, she'll find a white that shall her blackness fit. Worse and worse. How if fair and foolish? She never yet was foolish that was fair, for even her folly helped her to an heir. These are old, fond paradoxes to make fools laugh at the alehouse. What miserable praise hast thou for her that's foul and foolish? There's none so foul and foolish thereunto, but does foul pranks which fair and wise ones do. O heavy ignorance! Thou praisest the worst best. But what praise couldst thou bestow on a deserving woman indeed? One that in the authority of her merit did justly put on the vouch of very malice itself. She that was ever fair and never proud, had tongue at will, and yet was never loud, never lacked gold, and yet went never gay, fled from her wish, and yet said, now I may. She that being angered, her revenge being nigh, bade her wrong stay, and her displeasure fly. She that in wisdom never was so frail to change the cod's head for the salmon's tail. She that could think and ne'er disclose her mind, sees suitors following and not look behind. She was a wight, if ever such wight were. To do what? To suckle fools and chronicle small beer. Oh, most lame and impotent conclusion. Do not learn of him, Emilia, though he be thy husband. How say you, Cassio? Is he not a most profane and liberal counselor? He speaks home, madam. You may relish him more in the soldier than in the scholar. Cassio takes Desdemona's hand. He takes her by the palm. Aye, well said. Whisper. With as little a web as this will I ensnare as great a fly as Cassio. Aye, smile upon her, do. I will gyve thee in thine own courtship. You say true, 'tis so indeed. If such tricks as these strip you out of your lieutenantry, it had been better you had not kissed your 3 fingers so oft, which now again you are most apt to play the sir in. Very good. Well kissed, an excellent courtesy. 'Tis so indeed. Yet again your fingers to your lips. Would they were clyster pipes for your sake. Trumpets within. The Moor. I know his trumpet. 'Tis truly so. Let's meet him and receive him. Lo, where he comes. Enter Othello and attendants. Oh, my fair warrior, my dear Othello. It gives me wonder great as my content to see you here before me. Oh, my soul's joy. If after every tempest come such calms, and may the winds blow till they have wakened death, and let the laboring bark climb hills of seas, Olympus high, and duck again as low as hell's from heaven. If it were now to die, 'twere now to be most happy. For I fear my soul hath her content so absolute, that not another comfort like to this succeeds in unknown fate. The heavens forbid, but that our loves and comforts should increase even as our days do grow. Amen to that, sweet powers. I cannot speak enough of this content. It stops me here. It is too much of joy. They kiss. And this, the greatest discords be that e'er our hearts shall make. Oh, you are well tuned now. But I'll set down the pegs that make this music, as honest as I am. Come, let us to the castle. News, friends, our wars are done, the Turks are drowned. Now how does my old acquaintance of this isle? Honey, you shall be well desired in Cyprus. I have found great love amongst them. Oh, my sweet, I prattle out of fashion, and I dote in mine own comforts. I prithee, good Iago, go to the bay and disembark my coffers. Bring thou the master to the citadel. He is a good one, and his worthiness does challenge much respect. Come, Desdemona, once more well met at Cyprus. Exit all except Iago and Rodrigo. To a departing attendant, do thou meet me presently at the harbor. Rodrigo, come hither. If thou beest valiant, as they say, base men, being in love, have then a nobility in their natures more than is native to them, list me. The lieutenant tonight watches on the court of guard. First I must tell thee this. Desdemona is directly in love with him. With him? Why, 'tis not possible. Lay thy finger thus, and let thy soul be instructed. Mark me with what violence she first loved the more, but for bragging and telling her fantastical lies. And will she love him still for prating? Let not thy discreet heart think it. Her eye must be fed. And what delight shall she have to look on the devil? When the blood is made dull with the act of sport, there should be, again to inflame it and to give satiety a fresh appetite, loveliness and favour, sympathy in years, manners, and beauties, all which the Moor is defective in. Now, for want of these required conveniences, her delicate tenderness will find itself abused, begin to heave the gorge, disrelish and abhor the Moor. Very nature will instruct her in it, and compel her to some second choice. Now, sir, this granted, as it is a most pregnant and unforced position, who stands so eminent in the degree of this fortune as Cassio does? A knave, very voluble, no further conscionable than in putting on the mere form of civil and humane seeming for the better compassing of his salt and most hidden loose affection. Why none? Why none? A slipper and subtle knave, a finder out of occasions that has an eye can stamp and counterfeit advantages, though true advantage never present itself. A devilish knave. Besides, the knave is handsome, young, and hath all those requisites in him that folly and green minds look after. A pestilent, complete knave, and the woman hath found him already. I cannot believe that in her. She's full of most blessed condition. Blessed fig's end. The wine she drinks is made of grapes. If she had been blessed, she would never have loved the more. Blessed pudding. Didst thou not see her paddle with the palm of his hand? Didst not mark that? Yes, that I did, but that was but courtesy. Lechery. By this hand. An index and obscure prologue to the history of lust and foul thoughts. They met so near with their lips that their breaths embraced together. Villainous thoughts, Rodrigo. When these mutualities so marshal the way, hard at hand comes the master and main exercise, the incorporate conclusion. Fish. But, sir, be you ruled by me. I have brought you from Venice. Watch you tonight, for the command I'll lay upon you. Cassio knows you not. I'll not be far from you. Do you find some occasion to anger Cassio, either by speaking too loud or tainting his discipline, or from what other course you please, which the time shall more favorably minister? Well, sir, he's rash, and very sudden in choler, and haply with his truncheon may strike at you. Provoke him, that he may. For even out of that will I cause these of Cyprus to mutiny, whose qualification shall come into no true taste again, but by the displanting of Cassio. So shall you have a shorter journey to your desires, by the means I shall then have to prefer them. And the impediment most profitably removed, without the which there were no expectation of our prosperity. I will do this, if you can bring it to any opportunity. I warrant thee. Meet me by and by at the citadel. I must fetch his necessaries ashore. Farewell. Adieu. Rodrigo exits. That Cassio loves her, I do well believe it. That she loves him, 'tis apt and of great credit. The more, howbeit that I endure him not, is of a constant, loving, noble nature, and I dare think he'll prove to Desdemona a most dear husband. Now I do love her too, not out of absolute lust, though perhaps I stand accountant for as great a sin. But partly led to diet my revenge, for that I do suspect the lusty Moor hath leapt into my seat, the thought whereof doth, like a poisonous mineral, gnaw my inwards. And nothing can or shall content my soul till I am evened with him, wife for wife. Or failing so, yet that I put the more, at least into a jealousy so strong that judgment cannot cure. Which thing to do, if this poor trash of Venice, whom I trace for his quick hunting, stand the putting on, I'll have our Michael Cassio on the hip, abuse him to the more in the rank garb, for I fear Cassio with my nightcap too. Make the Moor thank me, love me, and reward me for making him egregiously an ass, and practicing upon his peace and quiet even to madness. 'Tis here, but yet confused. Knavery's plain face is never seen till used. He exits. Act 2, Scene 2. Enter Othello's herald with a proclamation. It is Othello's pleasure, our noble and valiant general, that upon certain tidings now arrived, importing the mere perdition of the Turkish fleet, every man put himself into triumph, some to dance, some to make bonfires, each man to what sport and revels his addiction leads him. For besides these beneficial news, it is the celebration of his nuptial. So much was his pleasure should be proclaimed. All offices are open, and there is full liberty of feasting from this present hour of 5 till the bell have tolled 11. Heaven bless the Isle of Cyprus, and our noble general, Othello.